Let's make part 10 in Inventor. So the first thing we need to do is let's look at the part. Think about how we would create this in Inventor. Where kids go wrong is they try to do too much at one time. So with this part, I would draw the front shape, kind of like the front view of it. But a lot of kids want to go ahead and put this angle in, and then they try to cut out this piece and this piece at the same time, and that's not going to work. So let's draw this together so you can see how we can do things in stages. So let's go to Inventor. You've started a new part. So let's pick Start 2D Sketch. I'm going to draw the front view of this. So let's click the front plane to sketch on. Okay, now what I would do at this point, let's look at our part and see how we want this to look. So if I'm looking at this, it's going to be kind of like a rectangle with the corner cut off. So let's draw that shape. With Inventor, we can draw the shape of things and then put the measurements on it and make it the right size. So I'm going to go to line, and I'm going to start at my little intersection here at my crosshairs, and I'm just going to make the shape of that part. I'm trying to keep everything straight, let it track. I don't really know what that angle is right now, but that's okay. And then I'm going to go back down. Now this got a little crooked on me, so I'm going to use my horizontal constraint, click it, and that's going to keep that horizontal and make it straight for me. Okay, now let's start putting some dimensions on this. So I know that it is 3 tall, it is 4 wide. I have 1.5 inches here, I have 1 inch here. So let's start locking those things down. So I'm going to go to Dimension Tool, and then I'm just going to pick this line and pull the dimension out. And now I'm going to tell that to be 3 inches tall. My part is going to be a little weird looking because a lot of these lines are way shorter than they should be. So I'm going to click my Zoom Extents. And now let's keep putting some measurements on here. So from this side to this side, it should be 4 inches. Now it does not matter where you place these dimensions as long as they're connected to the right spots. So I need to tell this line to be 1.5, and then from this point, see how I'm going to let my dimension grab the end point to the end point here, and I'm going to pull that up, and that is 1 inch. So that's the basic shape of part 10. So you have to lock certain things into position. So you have to tell it how tall it is, you have to tell it how wide it is, and I need to know how the height of this piece and the distance over to where that angle starts. So it doesn't give me an actual degree of an angle, it just says, hey, from here to here is 1 inch, and that's the measurement that I have placed. Now, don't delete the dimensions. Some people will erase all the dimensions off once they've drawn the part. Don't do that, because if you have to fix something or if you move something else, it can throw that whole drawing off. So leave the dimensions. You won't see them when you model the part. So I'm going to finish the sketch at this point. I'm going to click my little house over on the navigation wheel, and there's my part. So now I want to extrude it. So looking at the part, the depth is 2 inches. Some people will do the 1 inch and then try to add another piece onto that. I'm going to go ahead and extrude the whole depth. So let's go back to our extrude tool, click extrude. It's going to default to 1 inch. I'm going to change that to 2. and tell that okay. So now I've got the basic part shape. I need to cut out that feature on the front. So I need to make this angle. So if I'm going to create the sketch, remember you just click on the surface you want to draw on. The last button that pops up, that's Create Sketch. And now I'm in a draw mode. So I'm going to go to line. I'm not going to really measure anything. I'm just going to make sure it grabs the edge of the lines. And I'm just drawing an angle. Now, this is important. Don't let it grab the midpoint, and you'll see the green dot. If it grabs the midpoint, it locks it to the midpoint. So if you try to put measurements on there and move it away from that midpoint, it's going to over constrain the sketch. So just draw your angle in. And what you're going to have to do in order for this to cut out properly, you typically have to trace around the edge so it knows this is one complete sketch that you want to cut away. So just go to your line command and just trace around the edge of your parts. There we go. So that boxes that in. Now let's tell it to be in the right position. So our drawing says it's 1 inch from the left and 2.5 on the bottom. So let's go to our dimension tool, and I'm going to click the corner and the end point and pull that up and tell it to be 1 inch. And then I'm going to click the end points at the bottom, and I'm going to tell that to be 2.5. So when I finish the sketch, I now see that shape drawn out on the front. I'm going to go to Extrude. It automatically found that shape. If it didn't find that shape, you can always click the profile and it will grab it. But 9 times out of 10, it's going to grab that shape. So we don't want to add to the part. We want to cut. So click Cut. It automatically defaulted to 1 inch, so that's fine. That's what we actually wanted. So we're going to cut that piece back 1 inch and tell it okay. That part is finished. So make sure you save. Notice we did the majority of that without even saving the part. So that's one thing that's kind of bad about Inventor. You get lost in the drawings before you even save it. So make sure that you save and save this as part 10 in your OneDrive.